Hey guys, it's Alexandra from iloveknots.com and Cre8tion Crochet.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a really easy double crochet beanie worked with super bulky number 6 yarn. You're going to find the written pattern for this in the description box below, as well as some other tutorials to make some other patterns that fall in my Dylan Claire series, which features easy double crochet stitches. You're going to need a number 6 weight yarn for this project. I'm using Wool Ease Thick and Quick. This is a wool acrylic blend. If you cannot do wool due to an allergy, then you can try Lion Brand Hometown or We Crochet Millhouse. You can also try holding 2 to 3 strands of a lightweight number 3 or worsted weight number 4 yarn together. Whichever you choose to use, just make sure you check gauge. Gauge is super important for beanies so that the finished hat will come out to the correct size. If you do not take gauge and you're not meeting the correct measurement, then the beanie's either going to be too big or too small. So you're going to want to have a soft tape measure handy so you can take your gauge, and we're going to do that together in the video. You're also going to want to have an M13 9mm crochet hook. You'll start with this, then take gauge, and if you're measuring smaller or larger, you'll go up a hook size or down a hook size. At the end, we'll weave in our ends together. I'm going to be using a tapestry needle for mine, but you may want to use a small crochet hook like this G6 4.25mm. Another useful tool is going to be a pair of jewelry pliers. That's really going to save your fingers as you're pulling the needle through. You're going to find instructions here from newborn all the way up to adult large. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a slip knot. So I've pulled the yarn over my fingers here. I'm going to wrap it around my index finger 2 times, hold the tension with my thumb and my middle finger, pull the loop on the left up over the other one but not off my finger. Then I'll pull the loop on the left up over the other one and off my finger. Insert my hook into the loop that's on my finger and pull it off. Hold the working yarn in my right hand, short tail end in my left. I'll give that a tug. It's going to make this go to normal tension. Now, if you're starting with a chain 3 and working into the first chain, I recommend leaving a longer than normal tail, as it's going to pull some of that to make space for the extra stitches. We're going to start a little bit differently depending on the size that we're working, but all of them are going to start with a beginning chain. So to chain, we yarn over and pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Each time we do that, we get one of these V shapes here, and each one of these V shapes is a chain. We don't count the loop that's on our hook, so we have 1, 2, 3 chains worked. If you're working the newborn size, 6 to 12 months, or toddler, this is where you're going to stop and start working the first round. So I'm going to show how to do this first round worked into the first chain. If you're working one of the other sizes, then you can jump down into the description box below, click the timestamp for the next part, and it will jump you forward so you can get started. For the newborn, 6 to 12 month, and toddler size, we're going to be working our stitches into this very first chain at the bottom that the slip stitch is attached to. To work a double crochet, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook right into the center of that chain, yarn over and pull through. There are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the center of that chain, yarn over and pull through. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the center of that chain, yarn over and pull through. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. As we work these double crochets, you're going to see these V shapes here on the top. That's how you're going to count your stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3 double crochets worked, and then that beginning chain. And the beginning chain does not count as a stitch here, so we have 3 double crochets. As you continue to work into this chain, it's going to pull that strand out, and that hole is going to get larger. You're going to want to make sure that you don't lose your strand, like it doesn't pull out completely. So if at any point it gets too big, just hold on to that slip knot, give that strand a tug and it'll close it up. You're going to continue working double crochets in here. For the newborn size and toddler size, you're going to have 9 double crochets, and for the 6 to 12 month size, you're going to have 8 double crochets. Just before you get to the end, I think it's best if you work the last 2 stitches as close as possible. So you'll go ahead and hold on to your slip knot, give that strand a tug to close up that ring, and then finish working your stitches on top of this little section that you see here. It's going to be over that strand and then over the slip knot, and that's just going to help this lay flat. Then we're going to slip stitch join to the first double crochet. If you're not sure where your first double crochet is, the easiest way is going to be to count backwards using those V shapes at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double crochets. Insert your hook underneath both loops of that first double crochet, yarn over, pull through that stitch and through the loop that's on your hook to complete the round. That's a slip stitch join, and you might have a little bowl shape going on. Hold on to that center ring in between your fingers. I have my thumb here and then my index finger and my middle finger on the back. Give that strand a tug, but don't pull too tight as you can tear this thread. You'll see that center ring has closed up and your circle is laying flat. This hole might open back up while you work because this strand is not secured yet, but we'll completely close it up and secure it once we weave in our ends. Round 1 is now complete. I'm going to take this apart. I'm going to go back and show how to complete round 1 for the other sizes, and then we'll jump into round 2. If you want to fast forward, you can pop down into the description box below, click on the timestamp for round 2, and it will jump you forward in the video. For the 3 to 6 month size, child and adult sizes, you're going to start with a beginning chain that you're going to slip stitch join to form a ring and then work into that ring. So for 3 to 6 months, child and adult small, we're going to start with a chain of 5. And for the adult large, we're going to start with a chain of 6. So we have 3 chains right now. Go ahead and add however many chains you need to make that beginning chain. Then we're going to hold the tension of the loop on our hook, turn this horizontally, insert your hook into that very first chain at the bottom right in the center, yarn over, pull through that stitch and through the loop on your hook. That's going to create this ring here, and that's where we're going to work the first round. We're going to start with a chain 2. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch here. As we work, we're going to hold this beginning tail end to the back of the chains so that we can crochet over both together. We're going to be working double crochets into that center ring. To double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook right into the center. You have the chain and the tail end on your hook. Then yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook back into the center ring, yarn over and pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the center ring. As you do that, you have the chains and the tail end over your hook. Yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. We've just worked 3 double crochets. You can count them using the V shapes at the top. 1, 2, 3, and then there's the beginning chain. You're going to go ahead and continue working double crochets into that center ring all the way around. For the 3 to 6 month size, child and adult small, you're going to have 11 double crochets, and for the adult large size, you're going to have 12 double crochets. You should finish right up against your beginning chain, but if you find that you ran out of space, hold on to the fabric here in your left hand, grab your double crochet stitches with your right and pull it down, and the stitches will slide right down the chain. We're going to slip stitch join to the first double crochet of the round. If you're not sure where the first double crochet is, the easiest way is going to be to count backwards from where you just finished using those V shapes at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. I worked 11 double crochets. I'm going to slip stitch join to that stitch by inserting my hook underneath both loops of the stitch. Yarn over, pull through that stitch and through the loop that's on my hook. To close up that center ring, I'm going to hold on to the fabric here in my right hand, thumb on top, index finger, middle finger on the back with the tail coming out of the center. I'm going to give that strand a tug, but don't pull too tight or you can tear this. As you continue to work, that hole might open back up because this tail is not secured yet, but we'll go ahead and take care of that when we weave in our ends. Round 1 is now complete. Now we're going to start increasing. That means working multiple stitches into the same stitch so that our circle will get larger but continue to lay flat. We're going to start with a chain 2. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch. It's going to start counting as a stitch later on once we stop increasing, but it's not going to count here in the beginning. I'm going to show you how I like to split my increases so that my seam will stay straight, because a traveling seam just drives me absolutely crazy. But if you prefer working your increases in a different way, go ahead and do whatever is your favorite way, as long as we end up with the same number of stitches at the end. Normally, when you work this round, you do 2 stitches into each stitch all the way around. That would be 2 stitches into this first stitch, 2 stitches into the next stitch, and 2 stitches all the way around. When I split my increases, I do it in the beginning increase. So I'm going to only work 1 stitch here in the beginning, work in pattern all the way around, and then finish with the last stitch of that first increase worked here to the right of the beginning chain. That's going to make more sense when I show it to you here in just a moment. We're going to start by working a double crochet into this very first stitch that the chain is coming out of. When we work this double crochet, it's going to come out here just to the left of the beginning chain. So we'll yarn over, insert our hook into that first stitch underneath both loops, yarn over, pull through, and then complete our double crochet. And there you can see it worked just to the left of the beginning chain. Now we're going to start working 2 stitches into each stitch all the way around. So here in this next stitch, here's the first double crochet, and the second double crochet is worked right into the same exact stitch. And now we've just completed a full set of increases there, 2 stitches into that 1 stitch. Then you'll work 2 stitches into the next stitch, working that second one right into the same exact stitch. And now you have the second set of increases complete, 2 stitches into that stitch. In this round, we're going to have double the amount of stitches that we started with. So what I like to do as I work around is keep count. Right now I had the 1 double crochet that I started and 2 sets of 2. That makes 5 stitches. I'm going to keep counting as I work all the way around. I started with 11 double crochets, so I know I'm going to have 22 double crochets. So when I finish this last set of increases over here with 21 stitches, then I know I have 1 stitch left. This way I don't miss any stitches as I work around. So if you're working the 6 to 12 month size, you're going to have 16 double crochets at the end of this round. The newborn and toddler size will have 18 double crochets. The 3 to 6 month size, child, and adult small sizes will have 22 double crochets. And then the adult large size is going to have 24 double crochets. Here I've worked my last set of increases and I have 1 stitch left to complete the round. I'm going to work it into that next stitch that you see there. And when I finish this stitch, this double crochet is going to come out just to the right of that beginning chain 2. So it's worked in the same stitch as that beginning chain 2, it's just to the right of it. Then we go to that first double crochet, insert underneath both loops of the V, yarn over, pull through that stitch and through the loop on our hook to complete the round with a slip stitch. And that first stitch that I worked and the last stitch that I worked are going to complete the first set of increases for this round. Round 2 is now complete. This is where we're going to stop to take gauge. Gauge is super important because you want the finished size to fit correctly. If you don't take gauge and you're not measuring the correct measurement now, then the finished beanie is either going to be too small or too big. So you're going to want to grab your soft tape measure, lay it on the edge of the left side in the center, measure directly across the center to the edge of the right side. That's going to measure the diameter of the circle. And I'm going to put up a chart that shows the measurement that you're going to want to have depending on the size that you're working. If you're spot on, then we're good to go. If you're measuring smaller than the measurement I provided, you're going to want to go up a crochet hook size and rework this sample. If you're measuring larger than the measurement I provided, you're going to want to go down a crochet hook size and rework the sample. After you get to the end of round 2, take gauge again and see where you are. Again, gauge is super important for this because we want the finished beanie to fit correctly. If you're not currently meeting gauge, the finished beanie is not going to come out to the correct size. If you're working the newborn size or the 3 to 6 month size, this is where you're going to stop increasing. This is as large as we want it to be, and now we're just going to be evenly double crocheting all the way around. I'm going to continue increasing to show how to do it for the other sizes, but if you want to jump ahead in the video, just pop down into the description box, click on the timestamp for the next round, and it will jump you forward in the video. For the next round of increasing, round 3, we're going to start with a chain 2. We're going to work 1 double crochet into this first double crochet that our chain is coming out of, and we'll work the second half of this increase at the end of the round. Then we're going to work 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Our repeat for this round starts here, 2 double crochets into the next stitch, 1 double crochet into the next stitch. The repeat again, 2 double crochets into the next stitch, 1 double crochet into the next stitch. And you'll continue working all the way around, 2 double crochets into the next stitch, 1 double crochet into the next stitch, until you finish your last set of increases over here. Then we'll have 1 more stitch left to work to complete that first set of increases and join the round. This round is going to finish with 3 times the number of stitches that you started with in round 1. So for the 6 to 12 month size, that's going to be 24 double crochets. Toddler size is going to be 27 double crochets. Child and adult small size will be 33 double crochets. And the adult large size will be 36 double crochets. Here I've worked the last double crochet from that set of 3 stitches. I have 1 more stitch left to work here in the next stitch, which is the same one that the beginning chain 2 is connected to. That stitch is going to come out just to the right of the beginning chain, and then we're going to slip stitch join to the first double crochet, insert your hook underneath both loops, yarn over, pull through that stitch and the loop that's on your hook. Round 3 is now complete. And this is where you're going to stop increasing for the remaining sizes. You're going to want to check the diameter size to make sure it's correct. Lay this down on your surface. Take your soft tape measure, measure from the edge of the left side in the center all the way across to the edge of the right side, measuring the diameter of the circle. I'll put up a chart now that shows the measurement that you're going to want it to be depending on the size that you're working. If the measurement does not currently measure the measurements that I've provided, the finished beanie is not going to fit correctly. It's going to be too big or too small. So if you're measuring larger than what I've provided, you're going to want to go down a crochet hook and rework these 3 rounds. And if you're measuring smaller than this, you're going to want to go up a crochet hook size and rework these 3 rounds. Then take your diameter gauge again. Now we've finished increasing, our circle is no longer going to get any larger. We're going to start evenly double crocheting around, which is going to start taking a bowl shape. That's exactly what we want as we work the body of the beanie. We're going to start by working a chain 2. This chain 2 is now going to count as a double crochet. I'm going to be showing you how I continue to work to keep my seam straight. And that's going to be by alternating where I place my first stitch and my last stitch. Again, if you prefer using a different method, go ahead and do whatever is the best for you, but this is how I like to do it so that my seam does not travel. We're going to start by working the first double crochet into the second stitch. Not the first stitch that our chain is coming out of, but the second stitch. That's where our first double crochet is going to be. And then you're going to continue working 1 double crochet into each double crochet all the way around. Once you get to the last stitch at the end, we'll slip stitch and join to the first double crochet, not the beginning chain, but remember to count the beginning chain as a stitch. At the end of this round, you're going to have the same number of stitches that you just finished increasing to. I've made it all the way around. I am working the adult small for my sample, so this is stitch 33 for me. You can see that it looks like there's a gap right here, but that's actually the stitch that's connected to the beginning chain, so we're not missing a stitch. We're going to find that first double crochet, insert your hook underneath both loops, yarn over, pull through that stitch and the loop on your hook to complete the round. I'm going to pull up on this loop really quick. You're seeing the bowl shape already. Go ahead and flip it so the right side or the front side of the beanie is facing out and your beginning tail is in the center. That's going to be the easiest way to have it as you continue to work. For the next round, I'm going to start with a chain 2. In the previous round, we started by working our first double crochet into the second stitch. Now we're going to work our first double crochet into the first stitch. This is how we alternate the placement to keep the seam straight. So this first double crochet is going to go right here into the first stitch that's connected to the beginning chain. Then continue working 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around. You're going to have the same number of stitches in this round as you just finished with, and after working your last stitch, then we'll slip stitch join the round. Here I've worked the last stitch of my round. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch join to the first double crochet of the round. If you're working the newborn size, this is as many rounds of double crochet as you're going to have. The next round is going to be single crochet, and then you'll have the height complete for your size. You can pop down into the description box below, click on the timestamp for the round of single crochet, and it will jump you forward in the video. For the next round, we're going to start with a chain 2, and we started working the first double crochet into the second stitch. Then we worked it into the first stitch. Now we're going to go back to working it in the second stitch. So not the stitch our chain is coming out of, but the next double crochet. That's where your first double crochet is going to be for this round. Then continue working 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around, and you'll have the same number of stitches in the end. Here at the end of the round, I've worked my last stitch. You can see that as we alternate the placement of the first stitch, the placement of the last stitch also changes. So here we worked the first stitch into the second stitch. The last stitch is being worked into the same stitch as the beginning chain. Now slip stitch join to the first stitch, and by alternating the placement on either side of the beginning chain, that's what's going to help the chain from leaning too far one way. It's going to lean a little bit this way and a little bit that way, and in the end it's going to be straight down. This is my favorite way for working double crochet beanies. If you're working the 3 to 6 month size, you're going to stop after 6 rounds. The height should currently measure 5 1/4 inches tall when you lay this flat and you measure from the top all the way down to the edge of the row you just finished. If you're measuring short, you can add a round of single crochet, but if you've met gauge, it should be about 5 1/4 inches tall. So you can just fasten off and weave in your ends. You can jump down into the description box below and either click on the timestamp for working the round of single crochet or how to weave in your ends. If you're working the 6 to 12 month size, you're going to want to go ahead and add a round of single crochet so you can get closer to the finished length. You can pop down into the description box below and click on the timestamp for how to add a round of single crochet. We're going to continue working in this manner for however many rows you need to reach your finished size. So chain 2, you just worked in the second chain in that previous round. Here you're going to start with the first stitch worked into the first stitch that's connected to the chain 2. In the next round, you'll start by working your first stitch into the second stitch and join to the first double crochet at the end of each round. I'm going to put up a chart that shows how many rounds of double crochet you're going to want to have in total depending on the size that you're working, and then we're going to get into how to add a round of single crochet to meet the finished length that we're looking for. Once you've completed the last round of double crochet that you need, if you need just a little bit of extra height in there to get the finished length to the correct size, then you can add a round of single crochet. So for the round of single crochet, we're going to be evenly stitching into each stitch, and we need the stitch from the beginning chain. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out my slip stitch from this last round, and I'm going to rejoin it. I'm going to rework this last stitch. I'm going to rejoin it to the beginning chain. So we have the first chain on the bottom, the second chain above it, insert your hook right into the center of that top chain, and then complete your slip stitch. This way we can now work our first single crochet into that first stitch, and we'll have the same number of stitches at the end of this round as we did double crochets. Chain 1, insert your hook into that same stitch we just slip stitched to into that top chain, yarn over and pull through. There are 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through both loops. That completes a single crochet. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both loops. If you want to get fancy, you can do single crochet in the back loop only, where you would insert your hook into the top center of the stitch instead of into the stitch, breaking that V shape in half, pushing towards the back to get just that 1 loop on your hook, and then complete your single crochet. From the top center, insert right into the center of the V, pushing towards the back to get just that 1 loop on your hook, and then complete your single crochet. And this will give you a really pretty ridge as a finishing detail. This is probably my favorite way to finish most projects so that I can get that added little detail in there, but if you want to do just regular single crochet, you could do that too. Work all the way around so you have the same number of stitches in this round as you did double crochets in the previous round, and then we'll slip stitch join and fasten off. Once you make it all the way around, insert your hook under both loops of that first single crochet, yarn over, pull through that stitch and the loop that's on your hook to complete the slip stitch. And the beanie is now complete. Before you fasten off though, pull up a loop, turn this over, lay it flat, grab your soft tape measure, measure from the edge of the top all the way down the center to the edge of the bottom. Make sure that the finished length is correct before you fasten off, because if not, it's really easy to pull out rounds or to add rounds if you need to. Another great way to test this out is to put it on. Make sure that it fits you the way that you like. I personally like my beanies to be on the shorter side. I don't go the full 8.5 inches. I like to keep it closer to 8 or 8.25. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out this round of single crochet for myself, since this beanie is for me. But do whatever is best for you, so this beanie will fit you the way that you like, or you can follow the measurements that I'm providing, which are standard hat sizes. Once it's the length that you're looking for, then you'll go ahead and turn it back to the side that you were working on. Grab your scissors, fasten off, leaving a tail end long enough you can comfortably weave in. Pull up on this loop to break it. I like to bring it to the wrong side, so I'll insert from the wrong side or the back into the stitch I just slip stitched to. Yarn over, pull that tail end through to the back, and then turn the beanie to the wrong side so that we can weave in the ends. Then grab your tapestry needle and meet me back here so we can get these ends woven in. I'm using Wool Ease Thick and Quick for this beanie, so it's pretty easy to get this end into a tapestry needle. But if it's too difficult to get your yarn comfortably into a needle, you can also use a small crochet hook to weave in your ends. I'm not going to show this method here, but if you're interested, I'll pop the link to my video tutorial down in the description box for you. Another way that you can weave in ends is going to be by felting it if you're using a wool yarn. I don't use that method, but I know that All About Amy has shown how to do it back when she made the Afghan that's worked in Lion Brand Wool Ease Thick and Quick and has the flowers. So I'll see if I can find the link for that, and I'll pop that in the description box below as well. When I weave in my ends, I don't pick up the whole entire stitch on my needle. Instead, I insert my needle into the center, breaking that stitch in half, and I do that when I enter and when I exit, just to help capture my yarn better. I'm also going to be weaving vertically as opposed to horizontally. The beanie needs to stretch horizontally to fit my head. I don't want to prohibit any of the stretch, so I'm going to be working vertically into my stitches. I'm going to insert into a nearby stitch here, breaking it in half, and then I'm going to run vertically through several stitches there, breaking my last stitch in half when I exit. Another tool that I like to use when I'm weaving sometimes, if it's a tough yarn that I'm working with, is jewelry pliers. So I use the flat part there to grab my needle and pull it through. It really saves my thumbs. So you'll just want to make sure that the eye of your needle is facing you so you can see down it. And then grab your needle with that flat part, hold on to the fabric in between your fingers to prevent bunching, and give it a tug. And you might need to work slowly so you don't break your needle. I've broken the eye of my needle a couple times before. Once you get it through, use your fingers to pull it the rest of the way. Use your fingers to manipulate the fabric if your fabric has bunched up, because you just want it to lay naturally. You don't want it to look distorted. I do like to do 3 passes, so that's pass number 1 for me. Insert into a nearby stitch, breaking it in half. Run vertically back up through several stitches, breaking that last stitch in half when I exit. I'm going to make sure the eye of the needle is facing me so I can see directly down it. Then I'm going to grab my jewelry pliers, put the flat side onto my needle, hold the fabric in between my fingers, and pull it through. If you feel comfortable after 2 passes, you can fasten off. If you feel like you need to work another one, go ahead and do it. It's whatever is the best for you. I've gotten the needle through, then I'm going to hold the fabric in between my fingers and pull it the rest of the way. Then manipulate the fabric to make sure it's laying naturally. Laying flat, not bunched up, looks pretty. Insert into a nearby stitch here. break that in half, run back down through several of those same stitches. I have the needles facing me, hold the fabric, pull the needle through. Manipulate the fabric. Once I'm happy with it, grab my scissors, fasten off. Then I'll go to the top where I have that center ring. I'm going to put my hand inside the beanie and scrunch it up. I'm going to bring my needle clockwise underneath all those stitches until I get back to the beginning, and then I'm going to push it through a couple more stitches past it. When I come out this last time, I'm going to break that last stitch in half. Then I want to hold onto the fabric in between my fingers and give it a tug, and be careful not to pull too tight or you can tear your thread. Then I'm going to hold the tension here with my thumb so I can work back through several of those same stitches. Now I want to secure it in place. So that's my first pass, and I'm going to complete my second and third passes. Same way as I did before, breaking the first stitch in half when I exit, running through several of those stitches vertically, and breaking the last stitch when I exit. After I get the needle through here and I can grab onto the yarn, that's when I'm going to release my thumb over here. Manipulate the fabric because you don't want it to bunch up here, and then one more pass. And now I can fasten off. Turn my beanie to the right side facing. And it's ready to wear out. Guys, thanks so much for watching my video. You'll find the written pattern for this linked in the description box below. It would help me out a ton if you would smash that like button to let YouTube know that you enjoyed this video, and subscribe while you're there. And I'll catch you in the next one.